It was a beautiful Hawaiian morning. The date was April 28, 1988. Aloha Airlines Flight 243 was soaring through the sky, its destination Honolulu. On board, 89 passengers and 6 crew members enjoyed the start of their day. The Boeing 737, a familiar sight in the Hawaiian skies, seemed to hum with routine. At the helm were Captain Robert Schornsheim and First Officer Mimi Tompkins. They were experienced pilots, navigating the familiar route with practiced ease. The flight was smooth, the mood was light, but at 24,000 feet something went catastrophically wrong. A deafening roar ripped through the cabin, instantly transforming the peaceful atmosphere into a scene of chaos. The plane lurched violently, shaking passengers in their seats. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling, dangling precariously. Panic ensued. Passengers gripped their armrests, their eyes wide with terror. The cabin depressurized with a chilling howl. Loose objects swirled in the air, whipped around by the sudden rush of wind. What had been a routine flight had, in a matter of seconds, transformed into a terrifying fight for survival. In the cockpit, alarms blared. The sudden decompression was an immediate crisis. Captain Schornsheim struggled to control the aircraft as it bucked and shuddered. He fought to keep the plane level, his knuckles white on the control column. First Officer Tompkins, her face pale but composed, began running through emergency checklists, but amidst the chaos, a horrifying realization dawned on them. A sizable chunk of the fuselage, directly above the passenger cabin, was gone, ripped away as if by a giant hand, leaving a gaping hole in the aircraft. Through the gaping hole, they could see the blue Hawaiian sky. The wind howled through the cabin, whipping at anything and anyone in its path. They had never seen anything like it. They had trained for emergencies, but nothing could have truly prepared them for this. Then, a chilling report came over the intercom. One of the flight attendants was missing. Her name was Clarabelle Lansing, a veteran flight attendant known affectionately as CB. She'd been standing near the galley when the fuselage ripped open. The force of the decompression was so powerful that she had been swept out of the plane, lost to the vastness of the Pacific Ocean below. The situation was dire. The aircraft, severely damaged and missing a crucial part of its structure, was struggling to stay airborne. The pilots, staring into the face of unimaginable disaster, clung to their training. They knew that the odds were stacked against them. Landing the plane, already a daunting task in normal circumstances, seemed impossible in their current state. But they refused to give in to despair. They had to maintain control. They had to get their passengers to safety. Captain Schornsheim, his voice strained but steady, made an emergency call to air traffic control. He reported the incident, his words punctuated by the roar of the wind. He requested immediate assistance. Their location, he explained, was somewhere between the islands of Maui and Oahu. But with the plane's instruments malfunctioning due to the damage, pinpointing their exact location was proving difficult. They were flying blind in more ways than one. The minutes that followed were agonizing. Each second stretched into an eternity as the pilots fought to keep the battered plane aloft. They worked together seamlessly, their movements honed by years of experience. Captain Schornsheim focused on keeping the aircraft stable, wrestling with the controls that responded sluggishly, if at all. First Officer Tompkins, her voice calm amidst the chaos, communicated with air traffic control, relayed instructions to the remaining flight attendants, and monitored their dwindling fuel reserves. The passengers, meanwhile, faced their own harrowing ordeal. Strapped into their seats, buffeted by the wind, they clung to whatever semblance of hope they could find. Some prayed. Others wept. Many reached out to loved ones, whispering hurried goodbyes into their phones, unsure if they would ever see them again. But amidst the terror, there were also acts of courage and compassion. Passengers comforted each other, they shared oxygen masks, they held on to hope, a fragile beacon in the darkness. Section 5. A controlled descent into chaos. With each passing moment, the hope of a safe landing seemed to dwindle. The nearest suitable airport was on the island of Maui, but reaching it would require a slow, controlled descent, a maneuver that seemed impossible given the state of their aircraft. The wind resistance was immense. The damaged plane shuddered and groaned, threatening to break apart at any moment. But Captain Schornsheim and First Officer Tompkins refused to give up. They began their descent, their hearts pounding in unison with the roar of the wind. It was a delicate dance with death, a slow and calculated risk. Every bump, every jolt sent a fresh wave of panic through the cabin. Passengers and crew alike braced themselves, their eyes glued to the approaching runway. It was a terrifying spectacle, a testament to the raw power of nature and the fragility of human engineering. Yet through it all, the pilots remained calm, their voices steady as they navigated the crippled plane through the treacherous skies. Their skill and composure were all that stood between the passengers and a fiery demise. Section 6. Touchdown and Relief. The runway at Kahului Airport came into view. It was a sight that brought tears to the eyes of many. Hope, once a flickering flame, rekindled in their hearts. The final approach was agonizingly slow. The damaged plane, buffeted by wind, threatened to veer off course, but with nerves of steel and unwavering focus, Captain Schornsheim guided the aircraft towards the ground. The wheels touched down. The plane skidded, sending sparks flying as metal scraped against asphalt. But it held together. A collective gasp followed by cheers and sobs of relief swept through the cabin. They had made it. Against all odds, they were alive. The emergency slides were deployed. Passengers and crew, some with injuries, others in shock, evacuated the aircraft. They stumbled onto the tarmac, their faces a mixture of disbelief and gratitude. They had survived a harrowing ordeal, a testament to the courage of the pilots and the resilience of the human spirit. Section 7. The investigation begins. The world watched in astonishment as images of the mangled aircraft, its roof peeled back like a sardine can, flashed across television screens. How could a plane, stripped of such a crucial component, have remained airborne, let alone land safely? The investigation began immediately. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, launched a thorough inquiry to determine the cause of the incident. The wreckage of Flight 243, a haunting reminder of the near tragedy, was meticulously examined. The cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder, often referred to as black boxes, were recovered and analyzed. These devices, crucial in piecing together the chain of events, provided valuable insights into the actions of the pilots and the behavior of the aircraft in those critical moments. The investigation was extensive, involving engineers, metallurgists, and aviation experts. Their goal, to understand what had gone wrong and to prevent such a terrifying incident from happening again. Section 8. The silent culprit. Metal fatigue. The investigation, which lasted for months, revealed a story of silent deterioration, missed warning signs, and the unforgiving nature of metal fatigue. The culprit, a phenomenon known as metal fatigue, a weakening of metal due to repeated stress cycles. Think of bending a paperclip back and forth. The repeated stress eventually causes it to snap. A similar process had occurred in the fuselage of Flight 243. The aircraft, having accumulated over 89,000 flight cycles, mostly short hops between the Hawaiian Islands, had endured countless takeoffs and landings. Each cycle, though seemingly insignificant on its own, had taken a toll on the aircraft's structure. Over time, microscopic cracks had formed in the aluminum skin of the fuselage, particularly around the rivets that held it together. These cracks, invisible to the naked eye, had gradually spread, weakened by corrosion from the salty Hawaiian air. On that fateful day, the repeated stress of pressurization and depressurization, combined with the existing fatigue, had pushed the aging fuselage beyond its limits. The result was the catastrophic failure that had ripped the plane open mid-flight. Section 9. A legacy of safer skies. The Aloha Airlines Flight 243 incident sent shockwaves through the aviation industry. It served as a stark reminder of the importance of rigorous maintenance, thorough inspections, and a deep understanding of the challenges posed by aging aircraft. The incident led to widespread changes in aviation regulations and safety procedures. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, mandated more stringent inspection protocols focusing on early detection of metal fatigue and corrosion. New technologies, such as eddy current testing, were adopted to identify microscopic cracks before they could become catastrophic failures. The incident also prompted a re-evaluation of how airlines managed their aging fleets. The concept of retirement for cause, where aircraft were flown until they showed signs of wear and tear, was re-examined. Airlines began implementing more proactive maintenance schedules, replacing aging aircraft or components before they reached critical fatigue levels. The legacy of Aloha Airlines Flight 243 is one of tragedy averted and lessons learned. It stands as a testament to the bravery of the pilots and crew, the resilience of the passengers, and the unwavering commitment to improving aviation safety.